At the shiny entertainment conglomerate and biological arms deal, VOD International, it's a team sport. They like the Supes rolling in packs, donning their well-designed costumes and confident smiles. And we love exploring the boys' world for all it has to offer, whether that be great teams with all the powers one can fathom amongst them, or lesser tropes, with funny names and bad to downright deviant attitudes. So let us get into our top 10 boys teams ever. A small request before we get started. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. It's a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's go. The Scorchers. The team was assembled by VOD as a complete PR stunt, giving the members provocative names and looks, and scripting a baddies to goodies storyline around. However, they are quite a minor squad and are only seen in flashbacks. They all met their end at the hands of Billy Butcher, who spikes their food to put them to sleep, and then goes into a head-lopping frenzy. Yikes. The members include Black Thug, Looney Left Poncing Poof, Sex Vicar, and the Teen Temptress. While the group is not all that powerful, some of them wield some petty skills. Power Punch. The Teen Temptress and Black Thug can both get airborne, and the Teen Temptress is also pretty quick on her feet. Black Thug is also supposed to be a tough cookie, but the most thrilling moment involving them is actually their death sequence, and that's pretty sad. Mavericks. A group of 7 Supes clad in matching white outfits. The Mavericks are no hotcakes, and they know it. Tech Knight, who is quite a guy, the only human around here too, was also part of this team before he moved on to form a way superior one, the Payback, which we will come to later. After Tech left, the new Mavericks leader killed a hooker, but it was an accident. Butcher, the gory Supe killer, found it in his heart to forgive the Mavericks for the slip. Just kidding. Billy showed up, did his thing, and left those Supes in their white uniforms in tatters. After this, the Mavericks received some costume upgrade and work, a job securing the Pentagon for Homeland, who had declared a coup. The coup bombed though, and the Mavericks are presumed dead. Bummer. Team Titanic. It is a C-lister if we are being real, and only marginally better than the Scorchers. Team Titanic has no natural chemistry among them and are unskilled. They are like spoons in a world of knives and forks. Not unlike many other Supes, Team Titanic was a greedy, characterless bunch who aged out of their teen squads. Their members included Country Mama, Dry Hump, Gumchum, Jimmy the One, Muzzletop, Regina Dentata, and Starlight. When the Vought people decided to meet with them to see if they could be hired, Frenchie and the female crashed the meeting and battered them to juice. It was the female who did most of the dirty work, like ripping out Dry Hump's spine and slicing Muzzletop's head clean off. How easily she clears them out goes on to show what a bad team they were to start with. Power Punch. They had no exciting powers except for Muzzletop's reverse speech, or speaking backwards. Doesn't sound very lethal, does it? Young Americans. Spearheaded by Drummer Boy, Young Americans is a team of teenagers whose patriotic and wholesome image is a smokescreen, as they rarely help the people who are in need. They found their fame after they undertook rescue missions during a severe flood, which made them young heroes and gave them all the media time and endorsements they wanted. Starlight is a former member of this. The team members are Drummer Boy, General Issue, Holy Mary, and the Standard. Power Punch. They have some interesting powers, like General Issue's super strength. He can actually steer a raft full of people using just his arms for oar. Great in a flood scenario. The Standard can fly, and Drummer Boy has the usual V quality, like increased strength and speed. Fun fact, Starlight and Drummer Boy were actually a thing. After she got recruited into the 7, she one day returned to see Drummer, found him cheating on her with the nun-habited Holy Mary. Messed up much? Well, let's go on to some of the grander teams with interesting story and some uniquely powered fellas. GGMin was formed by a man named John Godolkin, who lured some cute unassuming children into his limo and later injected the poor sods with V. He reared them as an experiment to create Supes more relatable to the general public than the godly variety basking in the limelight at the time, with a promise to generate more money for VOD than had ever been made before. As a result, we got 5-0, Silver Kincaid, Groundhog, Nubia, and Critter. They were marketed as underdog, constantly at odds with society, and let's just say the whole thing worked. They were an immensely popular VOD product. Their popularity got Godolkin to create plenty of spin-off teams, but for all their fame, they struggled with mental stability, for they have a very dark backstory, which I'll reveal in just a minute. At a later time, most of them were killed off by VOD as they had come to be a liability. Power Punch. Cold Snap spearheaded the team, ejecting ice from his hands at will. His greatest friend and confidant is 5-0, the biker with a cop attitude, goggles that contain his laser vision. Silver Kincaid differs from the rest, though she is pretty vile in her own right. She was used for keeping the GGMin that went rogue in line, and many despised her for it. But she was also a CIA informant and tried to bring her despicable creator, Godolkin, down. She reached a breaking point when the CIA refused to help her when she needed them and killed herself. Her powers were unique: psychic prowess and creating gravitational fields to squeeze or crush stuff. In the Amazon Prime series, however, she is seen as a complete flip personality, a British Muslim by heritage. She is a UNICEF ambassador and appears in the reality show hosted by Starlight. Her powers are similar, but she has never used them so grimly as in the comic. The filthy-mouthed Groundhog and his trusty hammer have acted their way into becoming supervillain. Although underneath his mask, Groundhog isn't such a bad guy. Nubia, a powerful but lesser suit with the ability to manipulate lightning and thunder, suffered racial insults from within her own team. She was actually bold enough to challenge Godolkin, only to be zombified because of it. Yes, she was killed and then re-injected with V, which only half revived her, and she was left begging for her end long before Vought put her out of her misery. Critter, the Wild Locks ogre thing, doesn't have much of a part to play with in the team, but his boxing glove suggests that, with a basic top knot for better view, he could be down for some ground and pound. And lastly, for the unsavory, the GGMin have been subjected to the worst kind of childhood trauma, and it haunted and defined their whole existence. They suffered from constant sexual abuse at the hands of their founder, Godolkin, as early as when they were just 9 and 10, and they turned into completely dysfunctional adults because of often experiencing mental breakdowns. Super Duper. Super Duper is a soup team unlike any other because, get this, they actually want to do some good. They provide support to a home for people with disabilities, and they are so good that Butcher, who enjoys nothing more than brutally disfiguring any soup that comes his way, once magnanimously spared their lives. Super Duper is also a teenage teen, but starkly contrasted with the Kicks. Although the Super Dupers are lovely people, they certainly aren't the brightest, and their powers lack practical bearing. In other words, they could afford to be more useful. The members of the group are Auntie Sid, Black Hole, Bobby Bedoin, Kid Camo, Clanker, Lady Fold, and the funniest name spoof to the creator, Garth Ennis Credit, Stool Shadow, a name worthy of 100 ROFL emojis. Power Punch. Auntie Sis is the unofficial leader of Super Duper, and she has a secret phobia that is even more hilarious than Stool Shadow's unfortunate christening, and I'm going to tell you about it. But let us look at her powers first. She can replicate herself and other objects around her. She can also reabsorb her own duplicates at will. These powers are pretty great, but the rest of, well, I'll leave it to your good judgment. The Black Hole can eat just about anything. Bobby Bedoin is a blob whose soup power is probably sitting and spreading over people. Well, we don't really know. While Lady Fold is known to produce a minstrel sausage at that time of the month. Jealous, lady? Oh, and don't worry, fella. No one knows what that really means or what the good soups of Super Duper do with their quote-unquote power. Even Kid Camo, with his shape-shifting ability, and Stool Shadow, who can walk through walls, do not have full control of their powers, so they end up banging into walls and hurting themselves while using. Clanker has an impressive ability to transform himself into metallic object like chains or spiked club, but unfortunately, my good man suffers from Tourette syndrome. Now for the fun fact about Auntie Sis's phobia. Auntie Sis has a weirdly hilarious childhood trauma. Sounds terrible, but listen to this. She was once outside with her aunt, who was hanging their laundry out to dry, and a great gust of wind blew some of her aunt's great big undies over, completely enveloping the poor child. Since then, it has become the stuff of Auntie Sis's nightmares, where she finds herself trapped by murderous, oversized underwear. I know what you are thinking. Ain't no way. Moving on. Teenage Kicks. They are a group of young punks who call themselves crime fighters, led by Big Game, but they are super immature and far from wholesome. A-Train, currently a member of the Seven, whose conscience has begun to give him a rough time, was originally a member of Teenage Kicks. Easter egg alert. While they haven't really appeared on the TV show, Butcher once tailed the teenage teen, and a part of it was shown in the first episode ever of the show, as Butcher leads Huey through a large, nasty club to a bunch of surveillance screens, where they watch A-Train laughing over Robin, Huey's late girlfriend's death. In the source material, the Teenage Kicks happily participated in degenerate stuff like hiring hookers, thieving from hospitals, partaking in orgies and drugs. You get the picture. The members of this team are Big Game, Popclaw, Blarney Cock, Gunpowder, Dognot, Shoutout, and Whackjaw. Power Punch. As for Teenage Kicks' powers, Blarney Cock comes from a great lineage, being the son of Queen Maeve herself, but Vought had him brought up in an Irish orphanage until his powers came around, which are basically limited to flying and maybe also being a disgusting brat. He was accidentally killed by a V'd up Huey in a brawl Teenage Kicks got into with the boys. Big Game is the leader of the teenage troop, and he indeed leads the way towards wild and perverted direction. He is also the one that got the Kicks into the big street fight with the boys, where Butcher headbutted him as he ran his mouth, leaving him without some of his pearls. Oh, and he can fly. Dognot has many canine features, like his dog ears, furry body, and claw. But whether he shares some cool canine attributes, like a great sense of smell or speed, remains to be seen. Shoutout can fly like most of his peers, but he is also gifted with electrokinesis, which is similar to Whackjaw. They are both able to generate and manipulate electric beams. Popclaw has long metallic claws, probably a surgical top-up over her retractable claw, which were the original gift of Compound V. Gunpowder is dull at best, differing wildly from his Payback counterpart, as seen in the boys' TV adaptation. And now we have a fun, smelly, Easter eggy fact. Are you ready? You know the little hamster Jamie in season 3 of The Boys? Well, Frenchie's new pet actually has a fetid origin inside a Teenage Kicks member. Yes, inside. Apparently, at Huey's first mission with the boy, he killed Blarney Cock in a street fight. And out of Blarney's lifeless body, no less his butt, crawls out a little hamster. So the pint-sized Jamie had sadly been a victim of Blarney's twisted, kinky lifestyle. Gross. Payback. Remember Butcher releasing Soldier Boy from his gas-preserved capsule in the middle of Season 3? Let us jog your memory. The leader of the Payback and his seditious 1980s team is one of the most memorable Soup teams out, superseded only by the 7th, impactful enough to make it to the Amazon series adaptation. Black Noir, who has been a series regular, is a former member too. Payback claims to be one of the most intriguing power packages on the show, so let us see what they've got. Here we have Crimson Countess, Gunpowder, Black Noir, Mindstorm, Swatto, TNT Twin, and of course, Soldier Boy. Powerful, Swatto, named quite aptly, for he is merely a fly waiting to be swatted in the series, and the TNT twins who explode in tandem are honestly just a drab duo. But if we're talking about Gunpowder, it is different. The Gunpowder Billy Butcher contest was a standout of the show because of Gunpowder's excellent aim and visual senses, his ability to use mirror reflections, ball, etc. to ricochet and land bullets with perfect accuracy was something else. The Crimson Countess shooting fire with her eyes is not as impressive as the laser beams Homelander is decked, but it is her intellect that makes her pop among the Payback. She is easily the smartest and most cunning of the lot, and she was a brain behind the betrayal that got the Russians to capture Soldier Boy. We all know Black Noir well for his combat prowess, and his sudden slaying by Homeland was one of the most shocking things for fans everywhere. Mindstorm is someone I feel bad for. Mental disorders are no joke, my friends, and he is bipolar. The guy has so much sensory overload, hearing so many voices at once, that he is going crazy. But he can still use his mind control and super hearing powers on his enemies, as we witnessed in the series, when he trapped Butcher in a nightmare in order to escape it. Soldier Boy needs no introduction. He can conjure massive explosions that strip Supes of their power, making him the most powerful one in Payback, and his rampage through his old friends in the series gave him ample time to put on a show. An honorable mention is Tech Knight, the founding member of Payback from the comics, who is pretty morally sordid, even though he does suffer from sexual psychosis. He is a human and wears an armored suit that gives him extraordinary power, like flying, controlling fire, and emitting electromagnetic pulses. Totally awesome. Fun fact, he once saved planet Earth by having intimate relations with an asteroid that was racing towards our green planet, causing the asteroid to explode with pleasure. So yeah, let's move on to our big two. As the boys go through season 4, they are as hungry for soup as ever, and we love it. The boys' current members are Billy Butcher, Mother's Milk, Huey Campbell, Annie January, aka Starlight, Frenchie, and Kimiko Miyashiro, called the female in the comic. They are a team that knows each other's strengths, have great loyalty, and they also love to draw soup blood by the bucket. Case in point, the scene between Butcher and Ezekiel with his stretchy hand, where Butcher blows all of Ezekiel's 150 pounds of blood, rubber, and guts all over the trailer was nuts. Maybe Butcher had a little help from that insidious thing crawling inside his body, but he didn't hate the result it left in the trailer. Want to know more about that creep crawly inside Butcher? We have covered it in another video, and you can find the link at the end. Even though most of them are mere humans, the boys possess some cutting skills to make them as effective as they are against the mightiest of Supes. Power Punch. Billy Butcher is the dirtiest, most creatively brutal son of a gun in the boys' verse, and he is shrewd too. Mother's Milk, an ex-Marine, has excellent combat vision and skill, and is also a handy medic. Next is Frenchie, a gun runner by trade. He is a little bit of everything. He can work his way with electrical equipment and knows a bit about chemicals. He can cook well, is a great investigator, a good fighter, and has an outstanding feel for hunting bad suits. Huey may not look like much, but he ain't no slacker. He was an electrical technician by trade before he joined the boys. He is smart and has shown tactical intelligence and guts on many occasions. His girlfriend in the boys' first suit, Annie, or Starlight if you will, has the star package. The best of it is the way she absorbs electricity around her to power up, and then the lights all around start flickering. We are like, Whoa, she can blast this energy out in beams and also levitate off the ground with it. She has superhuman strength and durability and is also an excellent martial artist with cat-quick reflex. While she is blessed with regenerative healing, it is not quite as abundantly as our next femme fatale, Kimiko. Even though Kimiko suffers from selective mutism, she is a tight piece of work. She is indestructible with her absolute dynamite martial skill and her body's quick healing powers. The boys are stacked, and they had better be, because they need to go up against the #1 team. 7. Greed, power, insecurity, and duplicity came all together to create a summit. The 7 would have scaled it yesterday. Led by Homeland, the 7 are the heart of the Empire of Deceit, VOT International. They are the most popular Supe team ever. Currently, the members who reside in the VOT Tower are Homeland, the D, A-Train, Black Noir 2, Sister Sage, and Firecracker. While the new members, Sister Sage and Firecracker, are no match to the former stars, the fantastic Queen Maeve and Starlight, the 7, backed by the ruthless and derisive Homeland, is still the dream team of villains. And suppose anyone needed any running proof of the alpha villain's forbidding nature. In that case, you need only tune into the new season on Amazon Prime, where most recent Homelander paid his old home, creepy lab where they experimented on him as a kid, a visit. He seized his revenge on incinerating a guy, lasering a hole through another where his erstwhile plums had rested, ouch, and leaving the woman responsible for his trauma locked up in a red room full of decapitated body parts, after presumably cutting up her entire staff. His smiling, bloodied face to end the show would give nightmares to the faint-hearted. Power. Some of the team's new members are yet to grow on. They are savvy. Sister Sage is the smartest person in the world and has shown her conspiratorial edge by staying a step ahead of the boy since she was recruited. Firecracker isn't all that, with a decent combative streak and some pyro abilities, but she has a history with Starlight, being used by Sage in a master plan to take Starlight down. The deep is made for the water, for all intents and purposes. He is an amphibian and a brilliant swimmer. He can also connect with marine life telepathically and has super hearing, which makes him catch frequencies other humans can't. A-Train has crazy superhuman speed, like he can outrun bullets fired at him, and is also strong and fast like the Deep. As for Homelander, well, he has everything superhuman that you can imagine. He hits it out of the park with strength, pyro resistance, as in fire doesn't quickly burn him, real fast on foot, and in flight, like he could break the sound barrier even as a wee baby. He can detect sounds from faraway places with his awesome hearing, has X-ray vision, heat vision, and the cherry on the cake. He plays mind games with people and uses his charisma and intimidation seriously well, as and when he needs to. Marvelous Verse. The Boys is a realm that exists as a parody of our world and the superhuman figures we have created for our pleasure. The Supes and humans that are a part of embody that satire with their personality, name, and roles in an exaggerated comic set, and it is always a hoot to run through some of the unions these characters experience to save the world or get the fame and attention they so badly desire. While our Supes are wretched, they are interesting, exciting even, and that's what makes The Boys work. And I, for one, cannot wait for the next group of oddballs, our very own Escamoli Sal, to get flipped in together and go on a mission. P.S. The Boys team are the real numero uno. But tell me, which is your favorite team here and why? And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one.